Hi guys. Hey, hello. Hello, hey guys. Hi guys. Can you all hear me? Hello. Bear with me one second, just getting set up here. Thank you. Thank you so much for saying that. Okay, here we go. Trying to get you up on my iPad so I can see your comments. Thank you for the hearts. Oh, thank you so much. All right, there we go. Okay, so just a quick intro for those of you that don't know me. My name is Janine. I write the blog sugarkiss.net, and what that is a place where I share tutorials and recipes. Thank you. Actually, that's not a cake pop, that's a balloon, if you can see down at the bottom, but it does look like a cake pop. So sugarkiss.net, creative sweets made simple. I share tutorials and recipes for all kinds of creative sweets. Cake pops are my favorite, but I do cookies and cupcakes, and also share a lot of guest blog posts for anyone that would like to submit a tutorial. I also design dessert stands. Again, my focus is mainly on cake pop stands, but I do cupcake stands and other dessert stands as well. And that is through my online shop, Cake Pop Stand Co., which is the same as my Periscope name with the .com at the end. So if you want to check that out, you can find me there. What I'm doing today is just making some homemade chocolate sprinkles. Nothing groundbreaking, but I did want to share with you all the chocolate that I use. I'm not sure if anybody has heard of Chocolate, but let me flip you around here so you can take a look. There we go. Yay, thank you. So I started using them, I don't know, not too long ago. I've used this chocolate a couple times for my cake pops, and I absolutely love it. So that's why I wanted to share it with you. They have lots of different kinds of chocolate. This is their dipping and coating formula, and that is what I use for my cake pops. The reason that I love it so much is just that it is the perfect consistency right from the start. You don't need to add anything to it. It just flows perfectly, and it also tastes amazing, so that's very important, obviously. I also got some of their candy and molding formula recently. And both of these are chocolates that you do not need to temper. You can just melt them in the microwave, or if you use one of these Chocolate Pro melting pots, you can use that also. The difference between the two is that this candy and molding formula is a little bit thicker than the dipping and coating. So I'm going to use both of them today, so maybe you can get an idea of the difference. And then maybe the next time I make cake pops, I will use both so you can kind of see how they dip differently. If you want to check them out, the website is chocolate.com. And like I said, they have a bunch of different kinds of chocolate. So if you are any kind of chocolate expert, you might be able to find some chocolate there that you like. I don't do any kind of baking where I do chocolate tempering, but they do have that kind of chocolate too. So if you want to check them out, you can just take a screenshot and head over there. And then they also have like recipes and tutorials on there where they show you things that you can do with the chocolate, so it's really great too. So this is me getting started making my sprinkles, and I also did some mini chocolate chips. So these are the sprinkles that I have done so far, if you can see them. I'm just kind of trying to make some chocolate, almost like jimmies, homemade, and I'm trying to do them in a few different colors that are chocolate. And then these are my mini chocolate chips. Same thing, a few different colors that are chocolate. And the reason that I'm doing those is I'm hoping to soon do a recipe for some decadent dark chocolate cake pops. You can see the chocolate that I have is their dark chocolate. They have milk chocolate, they have white chocolate, they even have extra dark chocolate. So I'm trying the dark chocolate. And my plan is to do a recipe of chocolate cake and then mix that with some chocolate ganache instead of frosting, and then obviously coat it in the dark chocolate. So what I wanted to do is just come up with a simple way to decorate the cake pops that would just kind of scream, I'm really chocolatey. So I'm going to hopefully just drizzle those with chocolate, dip them in the chocolate, drizzle them with the chocolate. Hey guys. And then sprinkle some of these homemade chocolate chips and chocolate jimmies on them. So what I did basically was just took one of these little baggies, the tipless baggies, and put wafers, the chocolate wafers in those, and melted those in the microwave, cut the tip off. Oh, you do, and they have molds. I didn't realize that. So yeah, check it out. Their chocolate is great. I know a lot of people have been saying on scopes that they use Guittard, which I've never used, and so I need to give it a try, but I'm just really in love with this. It tastes amazing, and the consistency is just perfect. So you just take one of those tipless bags, you fill it up with your wafers, and microwave it to melt it, and cut off the tip. You can see here I did a few different colors, and they all start with the same chocolate. And then the way that I got the lighter colors was I just mixed in with the chocolate some of this white almond bark, and it is chopped up in pieces here. It comes in blocks, so I just chopped it up to mix it with the wafer so that it would melt a little bit more easily, because the chocolate it melts really easily. Like I said, it's a dream to work with, so I didn't want to have big fat chunks of almond bark in there that was still melting while the other was already melted. So that gave me 3 different colors. I'm going to work with the darker colors so you can kind of see just the pure chocolate, how it works. So to make the excuse me, to make the sprinkles, my preference was to use the thicker coating, which is the candy and molding formula. And I start by drawing these stripes. So you can use the dipping and coating formula, which is the thinner one. Your stripes are going to be a little bit thicker because it's a thinner formula. It spreads. And the thicker one does not spread as much. So I put it in the little baggie, and you can see I mark the baggie so I know which one I'm working with. So all you need to do is just pipe some stripes, and that's how you start. Real easy. I don't know if you all can see my Chocolate Pro here. This is how I'm keeping my candy warm. I just have it on a warm setting, kind of turn that off and on as I need to, and set my bags in there. And that keeps your chocolate nice and warm. I've also seen on other scopes, other cake poppers, that what they do is put down a heating pad. So I kind of want to try that and see. Because when you're working with a bunch of different bags, it's kind of hard to stick it. Yeah, I want to try it because I think it'll be, you can kind of spread out your work area and use it versus trying to shove it all in your Chocolate Pro. Okay, so you just pipe a bunch of stripes. And basically you need to let those dry so that they're hard. If any of you follow my blog, sugarkissed.net, that's sugar, KISSED.net, you may have seen me make homemade sprinkles before with royal icing, and I use this same method to do those if you want them to look like this, kind of like jimmies. Because what you're going to do is just take a knife and chop up those stripes there, and they're going to come out like this, like jimmies. The other thing that's really great about royal icing is you can use it to make sprinkles of all shapes and sizes. So these are some other ones that I've made. I did these last month for Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month, and just used teal royal icing and different size tips. Yeah, it's really neat, and it's kind of like a fun therapeutic thing that you can do with your leftover royal icing if you're into that kind of thing. So for these, I just piped different shapes. You can see I did little ribbons and I did hearts in different sizes. The hearts, I sprinkled a little bit of disco dust on there to get them sparkly. And now I have ready-made sprinkles, and I put those on cupcakes or cake pops. And what's great about the royal icing is you can just put it in a Tupperware container. Thank you for all the hearts, you guys. You can put them in a Tupperware container and seal it, and they're good practically forever. So you can just take those out whenever you're baking. So I'm gonna let the try and let the chocolate dry a little bit, and we can chop up the ones at the top. Probably I'm a little concerned about the ones at the bottom. Obviously, like the chocolate, thank you. You can just stick those in the fridge to kind of speed that up. So the dots that I have over here are for the mini chocolate chips. And okay, the piping bags I got are these tipless bags that I've just been seeing a lot of people use, so I wanted to try them. And I got them off eBay, so that's what they look like. And if you just type in tipless piping bag, that's how I found them. I'm assuming they come in different sizes, so it looks like I got one of the smaller sizes. And I just, you know, chopped the tip off of there to make a hole in the bottom of the bag. And it worked perfect. So, yeah, I've been seeing them a lot. I haven't tried it yet for decorating cookies with royal icing and that kind of thing, so I'm curious as to how that will go. But it worked perfect for this. But, okay, so now I'm using the dipping chocolate. See how I have them bag marked dip? No problem. Chocolate's a little warm. And this is how I am getting my mini chocolate chips. Real simple. You're just gonna make little dots. And you just squeeze out the chocolate and pull up. The difference between the two chocolates, this is the thinner chocolate, the dipping chocolate that I've used for cake pops. And if you follow me on Instagram, my name's the same, it's Cake Pops Stand Co., the same as it is here on Periscope. I've posted some just little video clips of me dipping my cake pops, so you can see the consistency of the chocolate on those videos. And those are all without any alterations to the chocolate. All I've done is melted it. And I believe those were my key lime cake pops, that recipe that I made recently. I used their vanilla chocolate for that. Or I don't know. Is it still chocolate if it's vanilla? But I used that, and I used Loran's flavoring, which is like my favorite thing in the world, to add flavors to my cake pop coating. Yeah, if you're looking for something that you don't have to thin out, you definitely can give this a try. It's Chocoley, CHOCOLEY.com is their website. And I actually noticed on their website that they're having a sale on all their chocolate this weekend, so it might be a good time to check it out. But what I have used before is, it's from their Bada Bing Bada Boom line, they call it. And this is what I've used for coating cake pops, the dipping and coating formula. And I said earlier, you know, they have vanilla, milk chocolate, dark chocolate, and also extra dark chocolate. Yes, chocoley.com. Thank you for posting that. Whoops, I spilled it all. So you don't have to add anything, and it's a perfect consistency. The dipping and coating formula is a little bit thinner than their candy and molding formula, so I do want to try that for coating cake pops and see how that works as well. Okay, so I'm not sure if you guys are going to be able to see this because it's small, but let me just show you like the candy formula. It's a little bit thicker. So what I was finding when I was making these dots is with the dipping formula, it didn't really like hold a point at the top if you really wanted it to look like a true. So you can see it's a little bit thicker. If you wanted it to look like a true chocolate chip, it doesn't have the point at the top. But I kind of like it as just like a rounded dot, so it just kind of looks like a dot. A sprinkle, this little circle sprinkle. So that's all you have to do for those. It's pretty easy. And Again, this is a nice therapeutic thing that you can do if you just want to sit in front of the TV and put a tray on your lap and do this. You can make a bunch of sprinkles. So let me see. This is mostly, whoops, no, not dry. Let me see if I can just do the top. Okay, so these are for the jimmies. If you want to make jimmies, your chocolate jimmy sprinkles, I usually try to trim off the edge here. Because you can see how some of those are not so pretty. And they're not going to be perfect anyway, so you can always keep those. And then all you have to do is just start chopping. And you can see you have control over how wide they're going to be. See that? And you just end up with little sprinkles. And this is the same exact process, like I said, I do it with royal icing. And that's kind of neat because you can make them colors, obviously different colors. And if you are decorating a cookie or something with your royal icing and you want sprinkles that match a color exactly that you're using, this is all you have to do. And it's something you can do with your leftover royal icing. So that's it. So that's my jimmies there. Those down at the bottom, the chocolate's still a little wet, so that's why I'm not cutting those, which is making it a little bit difficult to do this fast. But normally you can just, you know, chop, 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 go right down the line. Do it pretty fast. So if you guys can see that. Oh, you're welcome. I'm glad you're finding it helpful. So I'm just using wax paper and then pouring them when I get done into this little bowl here. And then my plan is to make some chocolate cake pops, and I'm going to drizzle them with chocolate and then just sprinkle these sprinkles on top. So the only thing you have to be careful of working with chocolate to do this instead of royal icing is that it's sensitive to the warmth, obviously, so you don't want to be like playing around with it too much like I'm doing, because it'll all stick together. Okay, and then these are the mini chips again. They're kind of like mini chocolate chips, depending on how much of a point that you put on them. See if we can focus. There we go. And all those are little dots that I piped with the chocolate. And once they're dry, and this is wet chocolate, I keep sticking my fingers in it. You can just scrape them right off. So if any of you are wanting to try this chocolatey chocolate and you are bloggers that bake with the chocolate, or if you do cake pops and want to try them out for that, and you do tutorials on your website, just go ahead and comment with your email address if you want to try some free samples. And the reason why I say that is because I am in touch with the social media director of Chocolate, and I know that they are always looking for people to try out their product and then to share what they think in their tutorials and recipes on their blogs. So if any of you are bloggers out there and you do that and you would like to try some free samples, just comment with your email address. And then when I go back and watch the replay, I'll pull that off and then talk to the social media director and see if he is looking for people. Hi there, hi Monet. And they might even be interested for if you are doing periscopes with your recipes and want to try the chocolate on a periscope. I'm not sure, I would just have to see. Talk to the social media director and see. Okay. So there's those, and that is pretty much it. Any questions about anything? Okay. Don't mind me. I'm going to disappear for a second and wipe off all this chocolate I have on my fingers. You're very welcome. I'm glad you found it useful. Yeah, if you catch on the replay, you can see from the beginning. The big thing that I did that I would say be careful not to do is to just be working where you have wet chocolate that's in your way. Because if you can see these down at the bottom that were wet, when I was trying to remove the dry ones, I was sticking my fingers all up and in those. But now this all seems pretty dry, so you can see how once it's dry, like you can move pretty fast and get a lot of sprinkles done at once. I tried to do this another way too, but it didn't work out so well. I tried just doing a big flat layer of thin chocolate and then going back and chopping that up. I was thinking maybe that would be faster because you wouldn't have to work in these little rows, but don't try that because that didn't work. Just end up with big chunks. So I like these more because they're just like these little lines and they look to me kind of like Jimmy's. Imperfect ones, but and if you weren't here in the beginning, I was sharing some other ones that I've made with royal icing. And if you follow my blog, sugarkissed.net, you may have seen these on there. But I think these would be a little tricky to do with chocolate because you can't pipe these little shapes. So the royal icing, one of the things that's great about those is you can keep them pretty much forever. So the royal icing will get pretty hard, and you can just store them in an airtight container. The chocolate sprinkles, they're going to last as long as your chocolate wafers would last. So probably not as long as royal icing, but you just want to put those in a container and seal them up. I'm probably going to use these pretty fast, so I've never stored them for real long. And you also want to make sure if they're chocolate that they're not getting warm because they're going to all melt together and just be a giant clump. So I may actually, maybe I can put these in the fridge. Put them in a little jar and put them in the fridge. Yes, I like the sparkly ones. What I did is while they were still wet, I just dusted them with a little bit of disco dust. Everything's better with a little sparkle. And if you need a royal icing recipe and you want to try this with royal icing because you want to do different colors or you want to do those shapes, I have a really great royal icing recipe that I love on my blog, which is sugarkissed.net. That's sugar, KISSED.net. And the reason why I love it is it's partly royal icing and partly glaze. So it still dries hard, but it's not super duper rock hard, which is one of the complaints that I hear about royal icing from people who don't like it, is that it's too rock hard. So it's still hard enough that it dries hard and you can stack it and package them for shipping and do delicate little detailed work, but it's not super duper rock hard. And it also tastes really good. I put a couple of different flavorings in there, so what kind of sweets do you guys like to decorate? Do you do cake pops, cookies? What kind of stuff do you like to play around with? Okay, so do you guys want to see? I can show you with the thinner chocolate cupcakes. Yeah, you should really try cake pops. And I think if you try and start with this chocolatey chocolate, I think you're getting one step ahead because if you start with Wilton, I think people have trouble with that because of the consistency and you have to thin it out. So you have to know beforehand when you start that you need to get those Paramount crystals or try and thin it out with the vegetable shortening or whatever you want to do. But I know that's what I started with, and I had trouble. Yeah, it was like clumpy, and I didn't know why my cake pops were coming out all distorted, and it was because it was really thick. Well, this is working pretty good. I think because, there, you can see it's getting thicker. So this is the dipping formula. So this is the thinner formula. So the lines are a little bit thicker. I let the chocolate cool a little bit, so it's making some thinner lines. In the beginning, I talked a little bit about the chocolate that I've been using, and it is from chocolate.com. And I started using it just recently. I've used it for a couple of cake pops that I've done. If you take a screenshot, then you'll have that website saved there, and you can go back and check it out. This weekend they're having a sale on all their chocolates, and they also have recipes and tutorials on there for the different chocolates that they have and how you can use them. And they have a bunch of different kinds of chocolates, and I don't mess around too much with chocolate. I use it mostly for cake pops. But if you're into baking and you're serious about your chocolate and you temper it and all that kind of thing, they have that, and fondue chocolate. But I use the stuff that's from their Bada Bing, Bada Boom line, and that's this right here. And I use that because it doesn't require any tempering. So when I melt my chocolate for cake pops or anything else that I'm going to coat in chocolate, I can do it in the microwave, or I have this. This right here is my Chocolate Pro, my Wilton Chocolate Pro that I use a lot. So it's real easy to melt using the microwave or my Wilton Chocolate Pro. So this is the formula that I have used before, and if you go to my blog sugarkiss.net and take a look at the key lime cake pops, this is what I use for that. I use the vanilla one, and it's the dipping and coating formula, and it is a little bit thinner than the other formula that they have, which looks pretty much the same, the wafers, but this is the candy and molding formula, and that's a little bit thicker. So I'm gonna try and use this, and maybe I can scope that and show you guys what the difference is between the two. But I know the dipping and coating formula works great. It tastes amazing. Like, I have literally taken these wafers and just eaten them because it tastes so good. And the consistency is perfect. You don't need to alter it at all. And it worked perfect. I used my Wilton Chocolate Pro and just put that on warm and dipped away using that for my cake pops. Yeah, so then we can all, I thought that might be good so we can all see the difference. It's a little, I can tell the difference with what I'm doing now, but I know it's a little hard to see because it's so tiny. But I think if I was dipping cake pops, you'd be able to tell a little bit better. But I can tell that the dipping and coating formula is a little bit thinner than the candy and molding. So I just want to try it out and see if one is more perfect than the other for the cake pops. But the dipping and coating formula that I've used in the past has been totally fine. So if you missed what we're doing, I am just making some homemade chocolate sprinkles. And these are for some chocolate cake pops that I'm going to be making. I want to do some decadent dark chocolate cake pops. And so I'm going to use the dark chocolate from chocolate.com. And I wanted to decorate them in a way that didn't take away from the fact that they were chocolate. So nothing too fancy. So I'm going to coat them in chocolate and then drizzle chocolate on top. And then use these homemade sprinkles, which are all chocolate just in different colors, and sprinkle them on the top. So these kind of come out like Jimmy's, but they're chocolate. So all you have to do is put your chocolate in one of these bags. They're the chocolate wafers. And I got these off eBay. They're just the tipless bags, the tipless piping bags. You microwave them and melt the chocolate, and then just snip off the tip. Just make a really tiny hole. You pipe the stripes, and then once the chocolate's done, you just chop it up. And you can make it the size that you want, and you make little jimmies. I used these 3 different colors so I could have the mix of chocolate colors. And how I got the different colors was that I started with the chocolate wafers in the piping bag, And then I added some white to it. And for the white, I just used regular almond bark. And I chopped it up. It comes in big blocks, so I chopped it up so it would be small, and I could put it in there with the wafers because the chocolate melts really well, really fast. So I didn't want to keep overheating the chocolate trying to melt the almond bark. So that's how I did the jimmies. And then I also did mini chocolate chips. And I think they look kind of like chocolate chips, you know, maybe not as perfect, but they're pretty cute, and they're tiny, so they are the perfect size for cake pops because I didn't want to use gigantic chocolate chips to sprinkle on the top of cake pops. And I really like how I got the mix of colors, but they're chocolate and they'll match the cake pops real well. Thank you. Yeah, I think they came out cute. So for those, all I did was pipe these dots. And sorry, the ones at the bottom are a little mushed because I kept sticking my finger in as I was trying to show you what I was doing. But you just pipe the dots. You're just going to take your piping bag and pipe the little dots there, real simple. And then I'm doing it all on wax paper so that it doesn't stick. And you can just scrape them right off and you get little chocolate chips. So thank you for all the hearts. Real simple, nothing groundbreaking, but just kind of a cute, simple idea. And I was saying earlier, this is kind of like a therapeutic thing that you can do if you just want to like zone out and watch TV. You can set up a tray in your lap and just pipe these. Oops, I put them in the wrong cup. Okay. Okay, so again, the website, if you want to try the chocolate, chocoly.com. If you take a screenshot, you can save that for later. They're having a sale on all their chocolate this weekend. I don't know the details, but would be a good time to check out. And I also saw that they had a bunch of Halloween sweets on the front page, so they'll show you how to make some Halloween sweets on sticks. And again, this is what I use to dip my cake pops. It's the dipping and coating formula from their Bada Bing, Bada Boom line. Perfect consistency, you don't need to add anything to it, and it tastes amazing. And if you use the vanilla one, you can just add coloring to it, change the color, and then I have also used Lorian's flavorings to add to the vanilla one to change the flavor. I made some key lime cake pops that are on my website, or on my blog, which is sugarkiss.net. And that's it. Does anybody have any questions before I sign off? Okay, well that's it, you guys, and stopping by. And hopefully I will be doing another scope, and I will talk to you all soon. Bye.